The Minnesota Timberwolves catch a break, win, and they avoid the playoffs. And now it looks like Anthony Edwards will be able to play after all. Have NBA officials gone technical foul crazy? Let's take a look at that. Plus, LeBron James bizarrely criticized for not wearing a shirt. That's right. That's the world that we're living in. Make sure you subscribe right here to the Basketball Bulletin. Turn on those notifications. I'm Trevor, joined by Donnie Freeman. Donnie, how you doing? Hey, Donnie, good. Happy to see you. Obviously, very respectful of our audience. You're wearing a shirt today for a change.
Yeah. Oh my God. I can't believe that's actually a talking point.
Right. But why is this even happening? Anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. The more important thing, Anthony Edwards, his technical foul from last night's game has been rescinded. Why is this such a big deal? Because that would have been his 18th tech. He was going to be suspended for the Wolves game against the Utah Jazz. And the spot the Wolves are in right now, the math for them, very simple. Win, and they're out of the play-in. As long as they win, they will be out of the play-in in the Western Conference. A loss from the Clippers or the Warriors would put one of those, they're playing each other, would put one of those two teams down in the play-in. And again, Denver, we're assuming they're going to win over a Rocket side that isn't going to play anybody. Minnesota playing Utah, they should win that one, Ant or no Ant. But check out this interaction. This is what Anthony Edwards said happened on the technical foul. Now, this is his version of the events. Important to note that. But this is what Ant said went down between him and the official when he was given a technical foul.
He called a foul, and I said, what was the effing foul? And he gave me a tick. I hope they look at it and rescind it so I can play in a couple days. Yeah.
Okay.
Hopeful that they will rescind it?
Yeah, I'm praying they rescind it. I mean, because I don't feel like it should have been a tick, but me and Ray got a good relationship, so we talked it out after the fact, but I still don't feel like I deserve the tech for just that little portion.
Okay, so Anthony Edwards saying he talked it out with the official afterwards, and they've got a good relationship, so they're all good, which that's fine. That's what you should do. But saying he got a tech for saying, where's the effing foul? Obviously, he didn't say effing, but is that like, where should the line be drawn? And is this where there's too much room for interpretation with NBA officials?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that NBA officials they're in this weird place where they've got a lot of power and they've got the ability to manipulate a lot of things in terms of like whether a player is going to be allowed to sit through a game, like the other night where Luka picked up that technical. Sure. And that was a really close, like 1 point game at that point, and it just completely disintegrates after that. And they wind up rescinding it, which means that it was wrongful at the time because that's the only reason they would do that. And here again, I think that NBA officials have to allow these guys to express themselves and maybe talk to them a bit. I did see the video. He wasn't even really like in his face. I mean, he approached him and he was just talking to him, but I think these guys have to be a little thicker skin. And the problem with it is that you're at the mercy of whatever that person and that crew feels at that time. Like that's the real problem with officiating is that it's not consistent because we're naturally inconsistent as a people in a lot of different ways. And then you've got individuals that are there and then you haven't seen this guy. They haven't interacted with you in a while. Then, okay, you determine that this is the way this game will be ref. They let you play, whatever it is. And that's also another thing. It's inconsistent. Like, are they going to let you be physical? Or are they not? Like you have to figure that out on a night to night basis also. But then there's a different individual there too. So like maybe they had a bad day and they're just sour or they're salty, like there's a lot of different things and it shouldn't be that way, but it is that way. And I didn't think, like I said, Ant did anything egregious, which is why they wound up rescinding it. But I think officials they hold a lot of power and they've got to be cognizant of that.
Yeah, that's it right there. There's a lot of power in the hands of the officials. We don't know. I would assume the Minnesota Timberwolves, even without Ant, would beat the Utah Jazz, who don't have a lot of incentive to win. You would hope, but you never know. The Spurs beat the Warriors the other night. You never know what's going to happen in these games. And so you catch the wrong referee on the wrong night, and that can change, when we're at this point, that could change your season. It could change the outcome of your season if you happen to catch the referee on a wrong night. So that's the tricky part with all of this. And it's unfortunate what Ant is getting. Look, some people may balk at because he used the F word, But I'll tell you what, you ever been courtside an NBA game? That's minor language. That's just adding a little bit of spice to a normal sentence. And if you're courtside at an NBA game, I mean, there's a line that has to be drawn, but obviously the NBA felt like the referee, because they rescinded the tech, drew the line way too early with Anthony Edwards. So the rightfully the tech has been rescinded. Ant will play, and the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to play tomorrow for the chance to not be a play-in, but instead be a playoff team, which I think is very exciting.
Yep, absolutely. I agree with you. And officials, if you're watching, I know you're not, but if you are, don't be so salty. Just let the man voice that. Let him voice himself, man. You got to let him do, especially if you're going to hand out, a tech or whatever, a foul. You got to let them react some ways. And sometimes officials are pretty good about that. I mean, and they've also got certain guys that they make sure that they don't react to. I'm looking at you, Draymond.
I was going to say, are you going to name names?
What about that Timberwolves and Nuggets game the other day, or like last week, where it just felt like they were refusing to call that foul on Jokic down the stretch?
Oh yeah,
like officials are weird. Like they do stuff like that all the time, but they've got certain situations, and I'm not implying that they're typically on Jokic's side. I know that he has outliers, but he averages like 5 free throws a game, all that. Okay, so qualifiers aside, right? But yeah, just don't be like that, refs. Come on.
A foul is a foul is a foul. In the first quarter should be the same as in the fourth quarter, but obviously, if a dude has 5 fouls and they commit a 6th foul, it's a 6th foul, right?
If a dude's in your face saying "call it," and egging you on, Trayvon. Come on.
Right.
Call it then.
I know. Ant drops one little F-bomb. Now, he has earned a number. There's a reason why he's at 18 with technical fouls. But, all right. Old NBA players, veteran NBA players, old heads, whatever we want to call them, former players, they tend to have issues with the current generation. Now, LeBron James in the crosshairs. We're going to get to that in just a minute. The NBA playoffs are right around the corner, and there's nothing like seeing a playoff game in person. That's why I'm thrilled to have SeatGeek as the sponsor of this video. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are over 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. Right now, you can get tickets to the MLB season, and the NBA playoffs are right around the corner. I love going to live events using SeatGeek. For me, it's about the value. SeatGeek has your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. So you look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. I love that. Takes all of the worry out of buying tickets. And I came through for you guys. Use our code Bulletin10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code Bulletin10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Again, big shout out to SeatGeek. Super thrilled to have them on as a sponsor for the Basketball Bulletin. All right, let's get into it here. We've got LeBron James, Isiah Thomas, Hall of Famer Isiah Thomas. Didn't like his attire. Check this out.
I just totally 100% object to this. And if I was the GM or coach,
Me too.
I would never let one of my players walk out on the floor looking like this. I mean, we are a professional NBA league. We ain't summer league. We ain't at the YMCA.
Listen, I think coaches got to go back to suits.
Absolutely.
I just mean.
Absolutely. I just think
College and pro.
I just think the professionalism in our NBA league has diminished so much. And I look, I like LeBron. I'm a fan of his, so forth and so on. But to walk out on the floor before a game with no shirt on and shoot, I mean, come on, man. Where we at? What we doing? Where we at? Now, if you want to, Adam Silver, if you want to find somebody, find that. Put a fine on that.
So Isiah Thomas wants find that. Isiah Thomas wants Adam Silver to find LeBron James for going out now, I think it's important to note this, Donnie. This is not pregame warmups. This is LeBron. This is not with anybody in the building. Fans are not in the building. This is hours and hours and hours. This was, I believe it was 4 or 5 hours before the game. This is like shoot around here that LeBron's at. This is not pregame warmups here for the Lakers game last night against the Rockets. This was hours before. This is not people are standing around and watching and all that kind of stuff. This is hours before that's happening. I don't know, like, why is this a problem that LeBron doesn't have a shirt? It's shocking to me that this is where we want to, point at and saying this is something that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, it's an old head thing. So I'll say this: if that were me, if I were LeBron, I'm pretty positive that some of the elders in my family would have a similar reaction if they saw me on TV shooting around with no shirt on. That's just the simple context to that. Is just I think that times have changed, for lack of a better term, and this is more acceptable now than it would have been a while ago. They also kind of brought up, the lack of suits and stuff like that as a whole, that the professionalism of the league is down. And I mean, sure, you can have a conversation about that. I don't necessarily agree. I don't really see much of a problem with things being different. Just because it's different doesn't mean it's worse. But I don't really see much of a problem with that specifically. But, I think that the context of the fact that like LeBron is out there hours and hours before people come, it's not like this is 30 minutes before the game and everyone's out there in jerseys and he's just randomly out there and just, some sweat, no shirt. Like that's not really what's happening here. He might as well be in a private gym right now, getting a workout in. So that's kind of the way I'm sure he's approaching it. And he tweeted out, there's a lot of things I could say, but I'm not going to say anything about it. And that's probably the best approach. But, it's interesting because I think that there's a couple of different layers you can get to on this specific topic. But the way I boil it down is I don't really see much fault for LeBron. I mean, he's just working out. That's kind of what he does. And the thing about it to me is that I think it's dumb because he does that all the time. And I'm sure he's not the only one.
Yeah, right.
I'm sure he's not the only one. And I'm sure that he does it all the time. I've seen him do it. So that's the part about it too. But, if people aren't going to like that or just they're predisposed not to like it, then you can't really change people's opinions on that.
If this was the actual pregame warmups, like the official,
I'd understand that.
That's a different, but that's not what this was. This isn't LeBron out there at the actual official pregame warm. This is LeBron out before hours and hours before the game, just getting some shots up. Yeah. Again, who cares in that scenario? And then as far as the lack of professionalism in the NBA, first of all, I love that coaches don't have to wear suits. I can only imagine how uncomfortable it must be to try to coach a game, especially not every coach is like this. Not every coach is Phil Jackson, who likes to just sit on his chair and fold his arms and watch the game unfold and force his team to adjust. Not every coach has that. A lot of coaches are more animated, more fiery. They like to pace the sidelines. It's more comfortable to not have to wear a suit. If you want to wear a suit, great. But I don't think coaches should have to wear a suit. I don't think there's a reason for that. I think it'd be more funny if we did like baseball and coaches had to wear the uniform. Like we have coaches wearing a tank top and shorts out there. That would be a fun way to go about it. But I don't have a problem. I don't think it's a lack of professionalism if coaches want to wear a polo, because I think it actually helps you in the job. If you're more comfortable, you've got more freedom of movement. I think it's something that can matter. For a coach out there on the sidelines, as somebody who has coached, not at high levels or anything like that, but it's not super comfortable to coach in a suit. It's just not.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a professionalism problem. And of all the people to call out for a lack of professionalism, like LeBron is known for being about as prepared as anybody. Does he like to joke around sometimes? Yes. But he's also a guy who puts a lot into his preparation, into his process, into being a pro. And so it strikes me as weird that we're calling out LeBron for not wearing a shirt when in so many other areas he does all the things that you'd want a true professional to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that singular thing determines whether or not he's acted professionally on the league's behalf, right? Or does act act professionally on the league's behalf. But it's just interesting as a whole. Like if you want to get into that whole conversation, I mean, what's up with the opinion on the league's dress code or lack thereof. I mean, there was once upon a time where they were hyper strict about that. Players had to dress a certain way.
Allen Iverson and all that.
Yeah, they even told some of those guys like Melo that, having braids is bad for marketability. They were really strict about a lot of different things. They've mostly gone away from that. These guys show up in all the craziest outfits you could ever imagine now. So and sometimes they've got like no shirt on and they've got like a jacket on or something while they're just arriving to the arena. I can't really, I think you can really nitpick this if you really want to nitpick this. It almost feels like it's just LeBron catching a stray, wrong person, wrong time type thing. And he's just on and they're about to cover his game. So that's part of the reason why they probably, kind of had that happen. And Isiah has said very complimentary things about LeBron in the past. I don't know if it's because he truly loves LeBron or not, or if he just doesn't like Jordan, but maybe it's a little bit of both. But he said some extremely complimentary things of him in the past. So I don't know if it's really beyond that, and I don't think LeBron deserves to get a fine either. I mean, I don't think he's really doing anything wrong in particular just because he doesn't have a shirt on. Like we said, if he did this right when people were in the arena about to show up, all this stuff, like when everyone else is out there getting ready and they're doing the full layup lines and all that stuff, that'd be entirely different.
Yeah.
Like I would consider that to be unprofessional personally.
This is like his gym time, right?
Yeah, that's like I said, he might as well be in a private gym right now.
Right.
He might as well be. So
yeah. Yeah. And perhaps that was a point of confusion. Maybe IT did think it was right, but maybe he thought it was the legit pregame warm. That's the only thing I come up with. And if that was the case, okay, I get it. If you thought it was pregame warm-ups, but it wasn't. This was like pregame warm-ups. There's nobody there. It's a weird thing to be critical of. I do think even if we want to tie our two topics for today together, and we talk about Ant expressing emotion in that moment, we talk about player individuality, we talk about what we're going to draw the line on and what we're not. The NBA, it's a very exposed game. These players are very exposed to fans, their facial reactions, everything like that, more so than in other sports. We've talked about this in the past. I think individuality is a good thing in the NBA. I think it's something that players should be allowed to express themselves. I think players should be allowed to show emotion because it shows how much they care about what's happening. It shows their passion for the game. And certainly individuality is a part of that as well. So the more we try to clamp down on it, but yes, you have to draw the line somewhere. But I think clamping down on the players too much can actually be to the detriment of the NBA. So they have to pick their battles wisely and choose where is it that you really want to draw that line. Do you really want to fight a battle over wearing a shirt or not in pre-game warm-ups? And do you really want to give a guy a tech for one F-bomb? I don't know. To me, that's just we're being way too sensitive.
I couldn't help but, as you're saying that, go back to our video from yesterday on Ja. Is the line Ja? Do they he's doing the word grenade thing? Is that the line? I don't know. They do have to pick and choose their battles. Sure. But you said guys got to be expressive too. Maybe that's just the way Ja expresses himself.
Yeah, I mean, so I think that's where you get into. Are you? Is there a line that gets crossed to where it's like a threatening action towards the bench, something right?
That one is fine,
right? You know what I mean? There's some questions there with all that kind of stuff, but in general, I think they need to figure out where to draw the line. There does need to be a line. There needs to be a line, right, somewhere. But I think that line could get pushed back at least a few feet based on where it's at right now.
Just before the gun gestures, but everything else is fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, what? You can't you can't go to an opponent, smash them in the back with a steel chair, and then spray paint NWO on their backs, and then do the crotch chop over them, right?
God.
Right? I mean, if
we're doing that, things have gotten pretty wrong in the NBA.
Or have they gone very right?
Oh my God!
I'm just the WWE. It's popular, man. It's popular. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Could you imagine? They're going to start putting courtside props.
Right? Why is there a ladder out there? Oh my God. He's been broken in half. No, before we start getting into pro wrestling here, appreciate everybody for joining. Give us your thoughts. Where does the line need to exist in pro sports and in the NBA specifically? What are your thoughts on Isiah Thomas calling out LeBron James and Anthony Edwards? This could matter for the postseason, getting that technical foul rescinded. Give us your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe right here to the channel. Until next time, see ya and stay safe.